Hey everyone, welcome to the part 2 of audiobook of the Living World chapter, and today's topic is diversity in the living world. If you look around you, we'll see a large variety of living organisms, be it potted plants, insects, birds, your pets or other animals, and plants. There's also several organisms that you cannot see with your naked eye, but they are all around you. If you were to increase the area that you make observation in, the range and variety of organisms that you see would increase. Obviously, if you were to visit a dense forest, you would probably see a much greater number of kinds of living organisms in it. Each different kind of plant, animals, or organisms that you see represents a species. The number of species that are known and described range between 1.7 to 1.8 millions. This refers to biodiversity, or the number and the type of organisms present on Earth. We should remember here that as we explore new areas and even old ones, new organisms are continuously being identified. As stated earlier, there are millions of plants and animals in the world. We know the plants and animals in our own area by their local names. These local names would vary from place to place, even within a country. Probably, you would recognize the confusion that would be created if we did not find ways and means to talk to each other, to refer to organisms we are talking about. Hence, there is a need to standardize the naming of living organisms, such that a particular organism is known by same name all over the world. This process is called nomenclature. Obviously, nomenclature or naming is only possible when the organisms is described correctly and we know to what organisms the name is attached to. This is identification. In order to facilitate the study, a number of scientists have established procedures to assign a scientific name to each known organisms. This is acceptable to biologists all over the world. For plants, scientific names are based on agreed principles and criteria which are provided in International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, commonly called ICBN. You may ask, how are animals named? Animal taxonomists have evolved International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, commonly called ICZN. The scientific name ensures that each organism has only one name. Description of any organisms should enable the people in any part of the world to arrive at the same name. They also ensure that such a name has not been used for any other known organisms. Biologists follow universally accepted principles to provide scientific names to known organisms. Each name has two components: the generic name and the specific epithet. The system of providing a name with two components is called binomial nomenclature. This naming system, given by Carlos Linnaeus, is being practiced by biologists all over the world. This naming system using two-word format was found convenient. Let us take the example of mango to understand the way of providing scientific name better. The scientific name of mango is written as Mangifera indica. Let us see how it is binomial name. In this name, Mangifera represents the genus while indica is particular the species or a specific epithet. Other universal rules for nomenclature are as follows. Number 1. Biological names are generally in Latin and written in italics. They are Latinized or derived from Latin irrespective of their origin. Second, the first word in the biological name represents the genus, while the second components denote the specific epithet. Third, both the words in the biological name, when handwritten, are separately underlined or printed in italics to indicate the Latin origin. Fourth, the first word denoting the genus starts with a capital letter, while the specific epithet starts with a small letter. It can be illustrated with the example of Mangifera indica. Name of author appears after a specific epithet, for example, at the end of biological name and is written in an abbreviated form. For example, Mangifera indica lean, L. It indicates that this species was first described by Linnaeus. Since it is nearly impossible to study all living organisms, it is necessary to devise a means to make it this possible. This process is classification. Classification is a process by which anything is grouped into convenient categories based on some easily observable character. For example, we easily recognize group such as plants or animals or dog, cats or insects. The moment we use any of these terms, we associate certain characters with the organisms in that group. What image do you see when you think of a dog? Obviously, each one of us will see a dogs, not the cats. Now, if you were to think of Alistaians, we know what we are talking about. Similarly, suppose we were to say mammals, you would of course think of animals with external ears and body hair. Likewise, in plants, if we try to talk of wheat, the picture in each of our minds will be of wheat, not rice or any other plants. Hence, all these dogs, cats, mammals, wheat, rice, plants, animals, etc. are convenient categories we use to study organisms. The scientific terms of these categories is taxa. Here, you must recognize that taxa that indicate categories at very different levels. Plants also form a taxa. Wheat is also a taxa. Similarly, animals, mammals, dogs are all taxa. But you know that dog is a mammals and mammals are animals. Therefore, animals, mammals and dogs represent taxa at different levels. Hence, based on characteristics, all living organisms can be classified into different taxa. This process of classification is taxonomy. External and internal structure, along with the structure of cell, development, process, and ecological information of organisms are essential and form the basic of modern taxonomic studies. Hence, characterizations, identifications, classifications, and nomenclatures are the process that are basics to taxonomy. Taxonomy is not something new. Human beings have always been interested in knowing more and more about various kinds of organisms, particularly with reference to their own use. In early days, human beings needed to find source for the basic needs of food, clothing, and shelter. Hence, the earliest classification were based on uses of various organisms. Human beings were, since long, not only interested in knowing more about different kinds of organisms and their diversities, but also the relationship among them. This branch of studies was referred to as systematics. The word systematics is derived from Latin word systema, which means systematic arrangement of organisms. Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as a title of his publication. The scope of systematics was later enlarged to include identification, nomenclature, and classification. Systematics takes into account evolutionary relationships between organisms. So this is it. I'll meet you guys with the next topic, that is taxonomical categories. So keep studying and thanks for watching. Bye.